Well, American news makes all the calls because the CEO of MasterCard on my station may say that SWIFT may already exist in 5 years. There is no better messaging system for the financial business than SWIFT. It handles everything from payments to foreign exchange to trades and securities, among other things, not reconciliations or other similar things. SWIFT would have a store and forward method for most of its payment transactions, and you would need service level agreements to say, I will do something at a certain time in exchange for payment at a certain time during the day. Here we'll look at the new network styles that let funds move instantly and be seen by everyone. That way banks wouldn't have to ask you again, how did my money get here now it's been 3 days? I need to find a query message that is going around the network. That's not what it is. I don't think Ripple will take the place of SWIFT. One of the networks that works with others is Ripple. Institutions that need real time will be able to use it. And I think we can also see that SWIFT is changing how their network works so that real time will be possible. Some people may also use Ripple XRP as a currency on the SWIFT network, but this isn't always the case. Today we have news about XRP, the future price, and last get. We've learned something else interesting. Today the value of XRP has gone through the roof, rising to $247.83. It's also very big. On a separate note, XRP is about to take off from this symmetrical triangle on the 4-hour chart, which is very interesting. The goal is 72 cents if it does. Also, the price of XRP right now is 59 cents. It is worth $33 billion right now for starters. We should be able to hold at 57 cents. There is also a psychological level of 60 cents that is important for a full XRP. If XRP closes this week around 60 cents, there is a chance that it will go higher than 66 cents in the next week. If not, I think it will trade at 55 cents or between 50 and 60 cents in the next couple of weeks. He says that SWIFT might not exist for years if we talk about the CEO of MasterCard. The NXAP software has been tried and found to work on the SWIFT network. The world will be run by Ripple and NXAP. This is why. Thanks. When it comes to payments, SWIFT is the best messaging system for the financial business. The way crypto works, on the other hand, is like SWIFT's store and forward system for most of its payments. You need service level agreements that say, I will do something at a certain time in exchange for payment at a certain time each day. Today, we're going to look at the new network styles, which let the funds move instantly and be seen by everyone. That way, banks wouldn't have to ask you, have my funds arrived? It's been 3 days, I need to find out, or they'd find question messages floating around the network. That's not like that at all. I don't think Ripple will take the place of SWIFT. Ripple is one of the networks that work with others, so institutions that need real time will be able to use it. I think we can also see that SWIFT is changing how their network works, which will make real time possible as well. If we use something like FX, we might also see Ripple XRP move across the SWIFT network as a currency. One more interesting fact about SWIFT is that it was criticized and then taken away because of a project backed by the Bank of International Settlements. People don't. The Enbridge Ledger, which was created by the Bike Cross-Border Payments Interoperability and Existence Task Force, works with the EVM. It needs to be an EVM sidechain. It wasn't very clear. The main goal of Enbridge is to let its users avoid the current banking system that is based in the US. Not only does this mean going around SWIFT, but it also means going around all middleman banks and cross-border deals in the US dollar and Forex trading. As a point of comparison, the US dollar is mostly used as a bridge currency, especially for big deals. That is, if you want to change a lot of New Zealand dollars into Canadian dollars, you'll first need to change the New Zealand dollars into US dollars. Then you'll need to change the US dollars into Canadian dollars. Well, that's just because you can't always trade a lot of New Zealand dollars for Canadian dollars. If the banks in New Zealand and Canada are connected to the Enbridge system, you could exchange New Zealand dollars for Canadian dollars straight between them. When this happens, the US dollar is no longer used as a bridge exchange, and SWIFT is no longer used for the transfer. It's very important that this happens. We also have another interesting fact. The bank's own repo, so the SWIFT community can fight with it. Repo wants to create the Internet of Value, which is made up of many different networks, but SWIFT can be used in the Internet of Value. Does your company already have an agreement or a relationship in the works? Not at all, no. I think you could use blockchain instead of SWIFT, which is just a messaging system, and then the banks would have to set up Nostra accounts. But right now, people think you need a bridge exchange in the middle. That bridge could be a safe value backed by the euro or the US dollar. It could be a coin, just like Ripple or something else. Also, another currency that might move over the SWIFT network is called XRP. This could be used when we're using something like FX. Our company has hired a number of different people over time. Marcus Treacher, a guy who used to be on the board of SWIFT, joined our team to be in charge of all customer success. I thought, okay, I'm going to call SWIFT and ask them what they think. That's a good story for the paper. In fact, SWIFT said, we're taking this very seriously. There are many ways we think it could change us. Now, SWIFT. In a way, Swift is a rival. And so, in a way, we really boil it down. Ripple is competing with Citi in terms of liquidity and Swift in terms of messaging. However, we're fighting in a single area because we're both messaging and liquidity. At the end of the day, Swift is pretty much the same thing as money. We didn't really want to take over this successful business. To get people to pay with cryptocurrencies, we just needed to make things work better. We told everyone about our patent for an idea that can connect old and new payment networks around the world by using blockchain and tokens to send and receive very rich payment information. We could connect people on the Swift network with people on the Ripple network so that payment messages can be sent. And I think that moving data every day is actually taking over Swift since we've now signed up more than 100 banks. RIPS's technology is now being used by some of the world's biggest banks that can use Swift. I mean, we saw a money transfer business last week that uses Ripple's tech. What they charge their customers went down from $20 per transaction to $2 per transaction. And overnight, the number of users went up by 800%. It's that kind of situation that Swift can't handle that we can deal with right now. I also know that Swift is working to connect these rail terminals using Swift Instant. But in the time I have left, I'd like to talk about Ripple, which is a big competitor to Swift. Ripple uses RippleNet. You should know that. It is using distributed record technology to fix problems with car spotting finance. As you may know, that technology supports two-way messages in the payment system and can answer questions about the legitimacy of funds and the accuracy of any data. To give you an idea, banks that are part of RippleNet can use bilateral agreements to trade payment directions for their own funds and send payments through local rail to rail. I can see that there is a different or competing trade, right? This does show how DLT is changing the well-known market, which might mean that these fast transaction management tools aren't needed after all. Yes, maybe to that. I mean, I think the cryptocurrency XRP is a big part of what makes Ripple valuable. That's another one that I think should be talked about. There, we also find that banks are hesitant to convert things into cryptocurrencies right now. This is because of the volatility of the currencies and the fact that you don't have as much deep liquidity in cryptocurrencies as you do in, say, the dollar as a clearing unit at the end of the day. There are times when I think that people who talk about instability are spreading false information. The risk of cash volatility is, well, volatility is just time times volatility plus some math. If you hold fiat for, say, 2 days, that's about 180,000 seconds. The average time for a Swift exchange today is about the same. It takes 3 seconds to do an XRP exchange. We can compare a low volatility asset to a long-term fiat or a high volatility asset to a very, very short amount of time. Based on the numbers, it appears that an XRP transaction has lower volatility risk than a fiat transaction. You have market makers, which is different. Banks say, as a market maker, I'll lock in that rate when you do a Swift trade. It's okay for me to take risks for the next 2 or 3 days. The quick settlement of XRP means you don't have to do that. That's all there is to know about RIPPLE XRP. Thanks for seeing this movie. Don't forget to follow my station, and good luck.